I gotta tell you something I could do. I could be running around chasing you, but I won't. Cause I got better things to do. Rather spend my precious time chasing somebody who loves me too. If I got $1 for every time you slam the door, I would be the richest girl alive. If you hadn't run away every time I asked you stay, you would sleep right next to me tonight. When you didn't know me, all you wanted was a game to play, and you couldn't handle that I had no ways. I found your magic and your side chicks, I'm a winner, babe. But you didn't win this, it's a part of the game. In the beginning I just didn't know that you're an enemy I held too close. Now I know, cause you did everything to prove me wrong. You were not the guy I thought. Now I'm beating you at your...
Hello, everybody. We are back again. It is GSI, Girl Say It in the building. Tell a friend to tell a friend that we are live right now. You guys need to share this video. Go around, come on guys, share this video, share it with your friends, with your family members. Today we are talking about the biological clock. So if you know an older woman, an older man, an older somebody that wouldn't mind being part of this show, that wants to hear some information, wants to clear up all of the myths, and wants to really discuss about this whole biological clock issue, you need to share this video. So share and share alike. Come on, guys.
Share, help a sister out. Share a video.
Yeah, share the videos. We've got lots to talk about today. Come on, come on.
And
let's
you never
get
know,
everyone
someone
online.
Could get blessed. Someone could get blessed by the messages today. So share this video, at least so we spend our time here giving out knowledge, giving out a message, and we only expect something as simple as a like back.
Yeah, come on, guys.
So share and share alike. Come on, guys. Yeah. Oh, the numbers are creeping up. So yeah, we can see that more of you are joining. We are good. We are happy to see you. Evelyn.
Come on.
Hi, Evelyn. We're good to see you. Yes, the number one girlie, she is here. Yes, Lady T, where is Lady T? That's the question on the box right now. Where is Lady T? Well, Lady T, unfortunately, she can't join us at the moment. She is caught up doing her extra work that she needs to do, her kingdom work, but she definitely sends her regards to everybody. She misses you guys. She really did try to be here today, but unfortunately, she has to have other business elsewhere. Most of you that know what she does, she's a minister as well. Her husband's a minister. So they're out doing ministry at the moment, but they are here with us. They're probably watching on live or will join us a little bit later. But yes, unfortunately, Lady T couldn't be with us with this show. But yeah, when she does jump on, I'm sure that she will share some knowledge either in the comments or perhaps she might join us. Who knows? But stay tuned. Because we do have lots more information coming for you guys today. We also have two special guests that will be joining us today. One of them is the lovely Dr. Bumi, who will be dropping some gems and, as we said, debunking some of the myths around this biological clock, especially for you ladies out there. I know you ladies out there want to hear this about this biological clock because if anything, it's mostly associated with us. So we're going to be getting rid of some of them, the myths, if you like. And also we have Mr. Kunle joining us today. Now, I'm not the best person to introduce him. He will be introduced very soon by the appropriate person. But he is a man and he is joining us today. And he is going to give his view on the biological clock. Now, as I said, he's going to be giving it from a point of a man's perspective, which we think is always important. We like to balance things out as much as possible because girls say it isn't just for women. It's not just for girls. We want to be very inclusive and we want to get the perspective of everyone. So although the show is called Girls Say It, we want the guys to say it. We want the women to say it, the boys to say it, everybody to say it.
Boys say it.
Exactly.
Right.
So let's get into it. So the first thing we want to talk about today is the biological clock. What actually is the biological clock? What do we think the biological clock? And if there is anyone that actually has the answer, drop it in the comments. What is the biological clock? So let's go. We want to start with Winnie. We'll start with you. What's your opinion on the biological clock? What is it, and how does it make you feel?
Well, I think it comes in two forms. I think that there is a physical form, which is factual, and then there's a superficial side. And the superficial side seems to haunt women. And I think that it's been circulating social media for the last, I don't know how many years since it started. And it's also been haunting households. I think it's been haunting households since, from my perspective, probably World War II, for various reasons, for women to be, seen or perceived in a certain way, for women to fall into certain positions. How I feel about it, I won't go into too much detail now, but to be honest with you, I think that both men and women haven't caught up with the modern age. Haven't caught up with more modern perspectives and modern ideas, and we're too comfortable with clinging on to old-fashioned ways because that's what we know, that's what we've been taught. So how I feel is that there are a lot of people that are outdated.
Yes, say it again. Say it again.
So I won't hold the mic. I'm sure Miss Rolo is burning.
Miss Rolo, come on, drop your gems.
Not really, girl. Not really. No, I kind of I'm on the same side of you to an extent. I feel like this biological clock, I guess a metaphor we could call it, is, it's something that's normally associated with women, women's biological, clock in terms of, the physical nature. So, fertility, when to have children, and all those pressures that come with it. And it's normally to do with, at a certain age, women are expected to have it all, to have the career, have the husband, have the children as well. And it sounds like, especially in this day and age, women are more focused on, achieving in terms of, professionalism. So in terms of like their work, there are, women want to be managers, they want to be directors, they want to be heads of companies. We want to make big moves. And those are the things that we weren't doing necessarily. Like Levine said, like around World War II, women's rights were completely different to what it is now. And and so this phrase or metaphor, the biological clock, it's mostly used to kind of put a woman in a particular place or role. So a woman is only supposed to kind of bear children, and once she's done that, she's achieved the highest achievement of life. And the career doesn't really matter, but it's almost like, if you're a career woman and you're career driven, it's not really important, or you're not really important, or you don't have the same level of respect in comparison to someone who has children and is a career woman. And so it's like, can we have it all? Can we have both the career and the children? Or do we kind of sometimes have to substitute one for the other? And it's all these complexities that come around that phrase. It just raises so many alarming points and questions. Can a woman have it all? Can a woman have her career? Can she be doing very well in the field and be successful, as well as hold down her family and have children? Can we have it all? And I think that's one of the things that comes to mind when I hear about that biological clock, is that is time running out for women who want to be successful in their career as well as have a family? Is time running out? Is there a time limit?
Exactly.
So, it raises all those questions.
Yeah, it's quite scary. And I mean, as we can see in the comments, thank you everyone for joining. Sister Susie, Linda Pierre, good to see you. Bobby, oh my gosh, it's good to see you, my girl. Nisa Higgins and Vanessa, it's good to have you guys on. Keep sharing, keep joining, keep telling your friends to come on down. But looking at Evelyn's comment here, she's got all your accomplishments don't even count if you are not married and have children. It's so painful. And I mean, as Winnie has said, and Miss Rolo has said as well, this is sometimes the state of women. It's not just enough for us to be career women and be high achievers. which is one pressure that we have. But there's also this pressure of having children, of marrying the right man. And then what also comes with that is then keeping your home. So for women, this is part of the issue with the biological clock. It's like, it's quite a scary thing now, you know, you don't hear it and you think, oh, okay, biological clock. So, okay, that means that I sort of need to just put certain things in order and I can be organized. No, it doesn't sound like that to me. It sounds like something that's quite threatening, something that makes me think I need to be racing around like the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. I'm late for a very important date kind of thing. I need to get my career sorted. I need to find a dude. I need to have a child. I need to do this. And then out of all of that, it's like, where does my peace of mind fit into all of this? Where does my health fit into all of this? Where does my happiness fit into all of this? Because what we've also found is that unfortunately some people end up making rash decisions because of this biological clock that seems to be working against them.
Yeah, definitely.
You understand? Yeah. And also Nisa Higgins, thank you for your comment. She said it depends on your value sets. I think that we are capable of having both, but we have to manage the emotional aspects of it. The biological clock can be terrifying. Exactly. Say it again, girlfriend. So yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, the thing is, it doesn't have to be perceived as terrifying. What it is that you're having lots of external things that are imposed on you, like external morals that are imposed on you. Like, what's so wrong with not being so career driven? What's wrong with just wanting to have a happy life or wanting to simply just raise children? That's one side of it. But another thing as well, what I will say, which some people may not agree with, but I'm going to say it anyway. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Meaning, just because you can have children doesn't mean that you should have them. And I think that there are so many opportunities for you to be, let's call it a mother, if you really wanted to be, a mother in your community, a mother to those that are coming up behind you, that you don't actually have to have physical children. And we shouldn't have to punish women for having that choice to not have children.
Exactly.
This is how I see it. So I think that a lot of the biological clock terrors, they're completely fictional. And if you do hear one of those outrageous comments by certain self-righteous guys online,
say it again, girlfriend, which we'll get to,
then my advice would be just do you. Do what makes you happy, because just because you have kids for a person doesn't mean that that's going to guarantee your happiness or their happiness. Because people's happiness changes over time. It's very fluid. It changes over the years. You change over the years. So
exactly. As we've seen
can I
time.
just ask a quick question, just to spin it in a different direction? What would you advise, or what would be your perspective on, say, a woman who is, I don't know, between the ages of like 35 to 40, and she's, you know, in the process of, you know, being excellent and achieving all of the goals that she set in terms of her career, and at the same time she wants to have children, but she's finding it hard to find a suitable partner to have children with, but she still wants to hold on and, you know, and go as high as she can in terms of her career. But the problem with that is that as the higher up she goes up the ladder, the less time she has to dedicate to that, you know, to completing, you know, ticking off that goal, which is to have a family and have kids. So she hardly gets any time to go on dates and meet people and stuff like that. A woman in that situation, what would be your kind of take on how she should handle things? You know, can she still climb up that ladder, or is she going to at some point have to sacrifice in order to start, you know, settling down and having a family?
Honestly, from my perspective, I think life, in every situation, life gives you choices, you know, and you have to assess your life, and you have to make the right choice for yourself, most importantly. If she wants to prioritize having children, at the moment or at a certain age, she will have to do the needful, you know, whether that means cutting back on her career a little while to find a guy that she, you know, that she would like to settle down. That might be something that she needs to do. I mean, and the thing is that life is so funny, you know, because sometimes these things happen when you're not prepared for them. And even when you're trying to put them off and put other things in front of them, life just seems to happen. You know, so you can't be, you can try and be in control of your life as much as you want to, but it sometimes just isn't as we want it to be. Sometimes you think you've met a guy and you think he's going to propose, or you've even had discussions about proposal. Sometimes you're even engaged and it just doesn't go anywhere. You know, so it's really quite difficult. And I think, just as I think it's Susan that said it, what really matters is what you think of yourself. You know, and you have to just go for what you know you can do. You have to go for what you can manage. And if at that point in time, this woman is like, you know what, now is the time, or next year is the time, it's the choice that she has to make. And she just has to put not all her eggs in one basket, but she has to put as much effort as possible into trying to pursue that thing, but with the same time understanding the complexities that come with life.
Yeah, I agree up to a certain extent. My question for her directly would be why? Why do you feel pressured at the moment to, for example, have kids? Okay, there's the age aspect, but if we actually are really getting down to the core of the issue, if you really just wanted a child, there are so many ways that you can get a child. Having your actual biological child is one way, but there's so many options in this modern age. This is what I mean about debunking ideas about what it means to be a mother. There is adoption down the road. So I think she needs to really go back internally into herself and ask the whys. Why does she want a child right now? Is it really because she just simply wants a child? And if that's the case, then you need to broaden your search criteria or you need to broaden your criteria in having kids. And if you then boil it down to maybe one of the real issues, which is you feel maybe pressured by extended family members, then this is what really needs to be addressed. It's family's happiness or your own happiness. And then I'm hearing this for like two things from that question as well. The other side is marriage. Then my question would also be why. Maybe she has an issue with companionship. It may not necessarily be that she wants to get married. It may be, what's her support network like? I would like to know that. And if she is really looking for a marriage, then is she comfortable with the possibility of actually being alone? Because I'm telling you guys, just because you're married doesn't mean that it's going to be forever.
This is it. We can only hope for the best.
Right.
So are you okay really being alone? Like you have to accept that, because some people get married. Unfortunately, sometimes their husbands or wives pass away, and then you're still back to square one.
Yeah, that's the reality of life. So we have reached another point of the show. Now we are going to call on one of our special guests. Now I'm going to let Miss Rolo introduce our special guest as we move on with the show. So guys, sit tight in your seats. Remember to share the video. We've got some good knowledge coming your way. So over to you, Miss Rolo.
Okay, guys. So the guest that we're going to have on shortly, she's a obs-gyn physician. She's actually a senior physician, and she's been in this field for almost 30 years. So believe me, she is well knowledgeable about, women's reproductive system, the fertility issues, and all of the things that come alongside that career path. So she's well knowledgeable, and she actually she's been working in the UK. She has been working in the UK, and she also works in the Middle East as well. So she has an array of experience of different challenges and different patients, from not just from the Western side of things, but also from the Middle Eastern side, because obviously we need to take into culture here, because when we talk about the biological clock, I'm sure it may be the same in every culture, but it'll be interesting to know, what is the feel over here? Is there still the same pressure on women in the Middle East as there are, the same pressures, on the women in the West? Is it different? Is it more pressure here or there? So I think she can kind of give us some insight as to, what does the biological clock mean? Is it a fact? Is it a myth? What she faces on a day-to-day, life as a physician, the kind of patients she meets. So she's going to come on and tell us more about that. So I hope we can welcome her on.
Awesome. Let's have Dr. Bunmi on.
Hello, can you hear?
Hello. Yes,
Hi.
we can hear you. Thank you for coming on to the show today, Dr. Bunmi.
Welcome.
Thank you. And I say a big thank you to you ladies as well for, talking about this very important topic. I can relate to a lot of things you have been saying as a professional person and a woman myself with 2 kids.
That's awesome.
Thanks for coming on.
For coming on again. We really appreciate it. Taking your time out of your busy day, I'm sure, to drop some knowledge for us. So yeah, we wanted to start with a couple of questions about the myths that are linked to the biological clock, particularly for women. Now, if you don't mind, could you tell us some of the most ridiculous or insane myths that you've heard concerning the biological clock with women?
Yeah, it is a myth, isn't? And I suppose the term biological clock comes from the fact that for women, we're born with a certain number of eggs, which number from many, many, many millions when we're in the womb. But by the time we actually hit puberty, start ovulating, we're down to 1 to 2 million. Because over the period of our lifetime, the eggs do die off naturally. And even though we're only going to ovulate 400 to 500 of these eggs, over a period of time, they also die. And your menopause actually happens when the critical number of eggs decreases to nearly 0 or 0. And by the time you have no more eggs to release and you hit your menopause. Whereas for men, it's slightly different. They have other challenges. Men make the sperm day up to 100 million. And so they don't have this challenge that they're stuck with a critical number which decreases gradually over the period of your lifetime. And I think this is where the term biological clock. So from birth, your eggs are on because the number and quality decreases. So it's a problem of both quality and quantity. And I think this is where the term biological came from.
Awesome. Right. So, Dr. Bunmi, to be honest, it does sound quite terrifying, this whole biological clock thing with the eggs and with the sperm and everything's running out and the quality of it, it is quite scary. So is it something that you would say women should be scared of or worried about?
Oh, and this is what I say to my patients with fertility who, in quote, trying to get pregnant. What we don't realize is that the stress and the general worry of life is all the wrong hormones in your body. And if you were perfectly healthy and had no problems, and your partner has no problems, if you become too stressed out, first, it makes it mechanical. It takes the fun out of, being with your partner, your husband, and, the joy of just being there. And it also scientifically releases all the wrong hormones that are going to make it less that you will get pregnant anyway. And so advice is to take the pressure off. Either it's going to happen naturally or it's not. And it doesn't always there's something wrong. And, the example I give is if you take 10 couples who are trying to get pregnant, in 2 years, 7 of them actually do so whatsoever. So you might take your time, relax, and enjoy the journey.
There you go. Some solid advice right there.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's no point in getting stressed about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Can I jump in at this point?
Oh yeah, go for it. Go.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask Dr. Bunmi, in your experience, would you say that there's a difference in terms of the pressure that are on women in, your experience working as a doctor in the West in comparison to, your experience in the Middle East? Is there more pressure on women here, or, would you say there's more pressure on women in the West? What's your take on that, or on your experience?
In my experience, the pressure is a lot more here. It's a traditional, closed society where a lot of value is still placed on being married and having children, up to a point where actually a little bit of a social stigma if you're if you're an older lady and you're married. And I don't want to put an age on it, but I will go as far as to say that compared to the women in the West, they will look at you and say you're quite lucky, because by the time 27, 28, you're considered in quote old here. And we would actually start their family, I would say, between the ages of 18 and 23. And the women here also have the challenge that because of the way education has been promoted, accessible to women, a lot of women in society here are now quite well educated and far outrank the men in terms of education. And so this narrows the marriage pool. In addition to what you said earlier, it also takes time. So by the time they're done with high school, university, they often find that they're slightly older. That they have narrowed the pool of men that they can pick from as partners. So here's a real challenge where you're 30, 32 and you're considered in quote old. And it breaks my heart every time I see this later. And my phrase to them is, where in the West, you wouldn't even be thinking about getting married yet, because we know that in the West, getting married later and later and having families successfully later and later with no problems at all, and not a lot of this pressure, which I think sometimes we put on ourselves, really.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly. Very
Winnie?
Yeah, so what I wanted to ask Dr. Bunmi is that for those that are actually struggling with fertility issues, using modern day practices, what can women do? What are their options? Because not only can we talk about, of course, the theoretical side of stuff and the cultural aspects, but also bring a bit of practicality. So what can or what should a woman do if, for example, she is not ready now, but wants to preserve maybe the health of her eggs later on down the line for when she is ready? Or if she has skipped that opportunity and is really facing a fertility issue, what are the options that she has right now?
Okay, so you made lots of very good points earlier on. in terms when you made a lot of very good points. I heard you say earlier that it's a family for everybody, and the answer is no. But due to the pressure from the society and probably our families, we have to be saying the right thing, which is yes, I will family sometimes, but actually it may not be for everybody. But for those ladies who think that maybe it's not a priority right now, but it's something you want to do a little bit later, then you have the option of freezing some of your eggs. And scientifically, it works from what I explained earlier. And having your first baby at 39, your eggs are 39 years old, if you see what I mean. And if eggs are 39 years old, then genetically, those eggs have all the signs of aging. So you can call eggs. If you're 45 years old, your eggs are 45 years old. The eggs of a 20-year-old is likely to be more genetically stable, if you want to put it that way. And from studies done with people who are having IVF, once you hit the age of 35 and above, the success rate gradually declines. And so this is the idea behind women having their eggs frozen at a certain before a certain age, I should say, so that you harvest younger, healthier eggs, which you can store until such a time when you're ready. So this is for me actually. Most important thing which we tend to overlook is the importance of remaining healthy. Whatever age you are. As Black women, we're prone to all the usual things. We put on a lot of weight as we get older. I'm not the big sisters. They are all very beautiful. But the heavier you are, the more your chances of getting things like diabetes, blood pressure, you name it, whether you're Black or white. So it's very important, whatever age you are, to stay active, stay healthy, do your regular checkups, and don't stress too much about anything really, because stress just wreaks havoc with your and your hormones generally.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Bumi. So there we go. That was it was quite a wake-up call, to be honest with you, because I will say for myself, I've been quite on the defensive side, but I guess there are some truths to this biological clock. However, I am not going to let it stress me out, and I'm not going to allow people to live their lives through me. So I'm going to make the best decisions that are right for me. And what is more important than anything is the fact that I'm healthy. So that is a number one for me. That's what I'm taking away from this.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead.
A 48-year-old lady who got pregnant naturally. She has a 25-year-old daughter. Thought she was finished, and she got pregnant, had a healthy pregnancy, and delivered a healthy boy. So there are truths to it, but having said that as well, there are women who are doing it little, having successful outcomes. So please take the pressure off.
Yes, I agree.
Absolutely.
I definitely agree.
Absolutely.
And Dr. Bumi, just a quick one from me. I'm taking full advantage that you're here. So I have heard of situations where there are fertility issues in a marriage. And I just wanted to ask you, maybe from your experiences or even from your opinion, about the fertility being a man's issue. Have you ever addressed that, or how should relationships address that? Because a lot of the focus on having children seems to always rest on women, even though we are simply carriers, really. But for the man's side, I feel like there's always a veil that's in front of it, or where it's not spoken about, or where things that are happening today. I don't know if people have heard, but a lot of how do you call it, black market Viagra, for example, that's affecting men's fertility. So how should a woman, or how should we as women maybe address this issue? Should we entertain the constant discussion around our fertility? Should we call out men's potential infertility as being part of the reason why? So,
fight back.
Not only us. Takes two.
That's an excellent question, Aggie, and I'm glad that you brought it up. It takes two to tango.
Yes, sir.
And so when you those at the beginning, I said if you take 10 healthy couples who are trying to get pregnant, in the first year, half of them would get pregnant. If you give an extra year, another 3 or 4 will get pregnant. Of the remaining 2, you will never find a reason why one couple can't get pregnant. So you will do all the investigation, find nothing. But for the remaining couple, it will be a 50% chance of a problem with a lady or a problem with a man. And biological clock too. So although they make sperms fresh every time, they also have the issue of erectile dysfunction and older. And actually, when it comes to assisted conception, the quality of the sperm is a big factor that can reduce the chances of it being by almost 50%. And there's a lot of parameters that need to be looked at with the sperm. It could be the quantity, so the volume could be abnormal, the count could be abnormal, the movement could be abnormal, the structure of it could be abnormal. It could be too thick, too thin. And so, the society does make it sound like it's all our fault. And I get a lot of people come to my clinic and say, please just give me Clomid so I can ovulate. And then I'm like, how do you know this is your problem? Have you
exactly.
A lot of in their head that, that's true. It might not be me. And I say to them, I can give you all the Clomid in the world, but if your husband's not making enough sperm, or it's normal type of sperm, then it's not gonna happen. So honey, you need to bring in, we need to invest, and then we can address the problem. And so yes, it is true that it's half and half. Half the time it's a female problem, half the time it's a male problem. But because
that's great to hear.
we women, we talk more about it, and the society puts more pressure on us. It makes it sound like it's a woman problem, but actually not.
Exactly.
Not always the woman's problem.
Awesome. And there's just one more question from me. I have to ask. Just one more question. So I've heard, and I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that once men reach a certain age, the risks of them having children with schizophrenia is heightened. How true is that? Are you aware of that?
So you can list all the problems in the world and say that forget about even having children. Your risk of cancer as you get older is higher. Your risk of diabetes as you get older is higher. Risk of high blood pressure, everything is higher as you get older. And so there is an element of truth in it, but you have to understand the concept of what risk means. So if I say risk is 1 in 1,000, yes, you don't want to be the one person in 1,000 who's schizophrenic, but you must not forget the 999 persons who will be absolutely normal, if you see what I'm saying. And what we're saying is you could get an older male could do it 999 times and get a normal result, but have an abnormal result one time. And so always a matter of understanding what risk means. You know, I just mentioned a 48-year-old who got pregnant naturally and had a healthy baby. Now, if we were to give her a risk of Down syndrome, we would probably have said, oh, it's 1 in 90, it's 1 in 80, it's 1 in 50. And that woman can go home and say, oh, they said my baby is more likely to have that.
Yeah.
True. If our risk was 1 in 40, for instance, it means that if you line up 40 women who are 48 and having a baby, 39 of them will still have a normal, healthy baby, and only one will have an abnormal baby. And so we need to demystify the concept of and try to understand what risk means. It means there is a small chance of it happening, but most of the time it will probably be okay.
Right. Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Bumi, for joining us today. You have really dropped some gems. You gave, for myself, I'd say definitely a reality check, but at the same time, helped me to look at how do we look at risks? How do we understand risks? Like a risk doesn't mean, oh my gosh, that could be me or that will be me, but there's a much bigger picture in identifying what the risks are and how to analyze the risks. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you. And we hope we can have you on again.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
I would just like to say one thing finally to again stress what you had discussed earlier. Two incomplete people do not make a complete person. You do not have a partner or children to complete you. You could be married and be very unhappy. You could
say it.
Yes.
Be very unhappy. You could have a very successful career and be very unhappy. And so happiness is a concept that lives inside you. And paradoxically, you could be in an unhappy marriage, but decide to take a rational view about it that, look, this marriage doesn't define me. This horrible job doesn't define me. I still choose to be happy despite all of it. So
Doctor, say it.
Dr. Girl, say it.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you know, Hollywood actresses who are gorgeous and they wouldn't have broken marriages, they wouldn't commit suicide, they wouldn't do drugs. And so all these things also have myths around them. That you need to be married, you need to have children, you need to have a successful career. No, you could have all of the above and still be very unhappy.
Very true.
Ladies. Thank you for
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you
Bumi.
so much.
We appreciate you. Thank you very much. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.
Take care. God bless.
Bye. Wow. Ladies, man. Wow.
That was
See, at first I was like,
very insightful. Very insightful.
Yes. Yeah. And you know, what really got me was when she said 2 incomplete people do not make a complete person. And I think that needs to be stressed so much. It needs to be stressed so much because it should, I mean, you can't just give into the pressure knowing that potentially you could be making the bad decision for your home, you know. Both parties need to be okay. Both parties need to be okay. And I feel like for me, that's relieved myself a little bit, because I'd rather have a happy home than an unhappy home with everything that looks like is perfect. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And another thing that I picked on was that, you know, when she was talking about risk, you know, a lot of people, when we hear that there's a risk involved, we always tend to focus on the negative part of it rather than the positive. So yeah, if I made this decision, this could potentially happen to me. Oh my God, I'm not going to do it. Rather than, if I make this decision, this could potentially happen to me. Do you see what I mean? And so, you know, even though she said, for example, that, you know, 1 in 90 chance that, you know, your child could end up schizophrenic, we focus on that one rather than the 90.
They'll say it.
And so I think a lot of it is a mental thing, because she even said, you know, when you're stressed, when you think of negative thoughts, it releases toxic hormones in your body. So you're doing more harm than good. You want a positive outcome, but your mind is negative. You're only setting yourself up to not, you know, reap the benefit of actually having a mentally positive outlook on life. Because I don't know if you've heard this, but you know, as you know, when you think positively, it attracts, you know, positive outcomes in your life. So I think a lot of it is, you know, as she said, it's just to live free, you know, live optimistically. You don't have to, you know, and focus so much on the negative aspects of things, because the chances of it happening, you know, is more likely not going to, you know. But it's the fear that we get, you know, that we play on as human beings. You know, we just tend to find comfort in fear and in, you know, just looking at things in a negative way. I'm not really sure why that is.
Not healthy.
We need to get our mindset away from that if we want to attract positive outcomes in our lives.
Most
definitely. Totally.
And on that note, I will say, stop judging women who don't have kids.
Yes. Girl, say it.
Women out there are judging. It's too
Girl, say it.
And you know what? You don't have to be a superwoman. If you want to go and, you know, enjoy your life, you just want a simple life, calm life, then just go ahead and do that. If you want your career, don't let someone then start imposing their morals on you and saying, oh, you're a bad mother for not spending that much time. Your kids are fine. You know your kids.
Yeah.
If you don't, and if you don't want kids, it's absolutely fine. Don't have kids for other people. Essentially, they're just an extended part of you, and it's your choice. It's your choice whether you want to have that extension or not. And that extension of you can come in many forms.
Say it again, girl.
Sharing your experiences with other people, and then that molds them over the course of the years. So let's stop being limited in our thinking and stop judging. Stop judging.
Your relationships do not define you. Children do not define you. Your partner doesn't.
Even your career doesn't.
Absolutely not.
And just going to the comments. So some of the stuff that have been said, which I think is quite interesting as well, and it somewhat is proof of what Dr. Bumi has been saying. I mean, of course, she's experienced these things day to day within her career, within her role. But I mean, these are just real life examples and testimonies of people who have had healthy, successful pregnancies. So Linda Pierre said she had her first child at 35 and the second child at 39. Susie has said she had her first child at 36. You know, Linda also shared with us that her father was 53 when she was born. You know, so it does happen. Like, don't think that you are that 1 in 1,000. Why would you take that? Why would you take it that you are the 1 in the 1,000? There was another one I saw which was quite interesting. Let me just see if I can find it. Where is it? Okay, right, I can't find it. So we'll move on, and I'll probably keep looking until I find it later. But yeah, oh no, I found it. Haha. So Nisa Higgins has said, I'm from Louisiana, where women have babies all into their 30s if they want them. 40s if they want them. So again, those are prime examples of women who are having babies at ages where, you know, older than what people would advise against, you know. So don't be afraid. Yes, we've got our eggs and they're like walking and talking and ticking and whatever you want to call them, but at the same time, it doesn't stop us from being fertile. It doesn't stop us from having children. Do not count yourself as that 1 in 1,000, because that may not be you. It may not be anywhere near you. And like someone else said, I'm just going to choose to do me, and my choice is to be happy. Amen. And that is the end of it. I don't want to hear anything else.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Let's normalize women just living life and doing as they wish and just
Yeah.
being happy. Let's not normalize, women finding happiness in a partner or marriage or children, because we know that that's not a fact. We know that, there are many people that are happy with the children and marriage. And yes, they are all blessings, but at the end of the day, you can't define your happiness and put your happiness in something else or someone else. It just doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It has to come from within.
But Evelyn has said, I do want babies. Sorry, Evelyn has said, I do want babies. They are cute. Twins or triplets, maybe. Madame, I hope you're ready for that. Because when you start hearing 3 babies crying at once, and you're like,
Yeah.
But yeah, strong woman, go ahead. Go ahead, strong woman. You got this. Yeah, Winnie, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we shouldn't ignore the practical side of it, which is exactly what Dr. Bumi said about having an egg insurance policy. That's how I'm going to see it.
There's
nothing wrong with freezing your eggs. So if it's something that is something that you may want in the future, then of course it's good to be positive. Of course, you have sisters around you that are giving you that positive vibe back. But the reality is that you need to also do the due diligence.
I know what you want to say.
Due diligence and get an egg insurance policy, which is freeze your eggs. So,
but you know what's so interesting about that? I love the fact that you're touching on that, because and this is what I loved about what Dr. Bumi said as well. Like, you start thinking about freezing your eggs when you're like 35, 40 something. But you need to start earlier than that. So don't let anybody deceive you. If you go ahead, if you're 20 years old or 18, well, I don't know about 18, but if you're 20 and above, and you want to freeze your eggs, that's really the best time to. So don't think that because you're feeling the pressure right now and you're stressed out, you want to quickly go and freeze your eggs. Number one, your eggs won't be good quality because you're stressed out.
Yeah.
And number 2, actually, the best time to do it may have passed already. So you need to take a step back. You need to chillax and stop stressing yourself out, because all this running around like a headless chicken is not going to do you any good.
More damage. Yeah, counterproductive.
Right. So we need to move on, girls. Like, we're getting to this part of the show where, right, I need to be careful. I'm going to say this because this person literally angers me. I don't know. In the comments, drop a comment if you've heard of this person. The man's name is Kevin. What's it? Kevin Samuels? Kelvin Samuels or Kevin Samuels? Kevin somebody. Kevin something. Kevin somebody. Right. And I'm just saying that because I'm being mean. Forgive me. Right. Now, this man has made a platform for himself by being ultra blunt. And I suppose you can see the good side to it, and you can also see, I'll say the positive side and the negative side to it. Now, for me, I do understand that there are some things that he says that are truth, but at the same time, I think he needs to be a bit careful about the advice that he gives and how he gives that advice. Now, he is known. Yep, someone's put in the comments, Nisa Higgins, you know that girl. You know, me and you on the same page right now. Total jerk. Total. Yes. Girl, say it. So I'm gonna put my nice hat on, and I'm gonna introduce him because we have a video of him. Thank God he's not coming on the show because he would get roasted. No, in fact, he would get jerked like the jerk chicken he is. But yeah, we're gonna play 1 or 2 of his videos, and for those of you that don't know who this dude is, you'll get to see. I mean, I think we got some nice videos of him. I would have liked them ones that's really like, but we're gonna play these videos anyway. And yeah, I'm gonna leave the rest to you guys to like say what you want to say. The comments are open. Drop your comments, guys. Let us know what you think of Kevin Samuels. All right, can we have the video, please?
Take it away.
Modern women want to take their 20s for themselves. They're not trying to get with a guy when he's starting out. They want the guy when he's already there. I'm good with it. But guess what? He doesn't want you. He wants a younger woman. It's important. because so many modern women are looking for these so-called high-value men that have these high-value lifestyles, and they're limited. So what are you going to do? If you didn't get them to start with, you're going to have to go take him from another woman, so you're going to have to wreck somebody's home. That's right. You're going to have to wreck somebody's home to get him. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to have to wreck somebody's home to get him, because more likely than not, he's already with somebody.
Okay, Kevin, how about I punch you in the face? No, I'm joking. But you know what, yeah? You know what? I don't know how many women he has associated himself with. I don't know how real that experience is for him. I don't know how many women above a certain age have been able to successfully remove him from a relationship that he has that, you know, is going well because she wants him. I would say that his opinions are like a bad smell in the air, if you ask me. I think he's a ridiculous person, and I honestly feel like part of him is just there for entertainment purposes, for sad and ridiculous men that are entertained by stupid, ridiculous comments that he makes. First of all, what I want to point out in reference to his video is that actually one of the things that I've observed in the celebrity world and also in the non-celebrity world amongst us regular people is that's not necessarily true, because we even have a time where, in fact, younger men rather, are dating older women. So Kevin Samuels, what do you have to say about that? What do you have to say about Priti Patel and is it Nick Jonas? Mm-hmm. What do you have to say about people like that? What do you have to say about, what's the guy that played Wolverine? Wolverine okay. in the X-Men. His wife is a hell of a lot of years older than him. You know, I don't think she had to break up his relationship to get this younger guy. Just because women may be labeled as cougars, or what's the word, you know, or cradle snatchers, oh my gosh, or like any of these ridiculous terms that people use, love is for everybody, number one. And number two, if as a woman you just so happen to get with a guy that's younger than you that is doing well, you know, you don't necessarily have to go for an older guy that wants a younger woman. There are men out there that want older women. So, you know, it's either way. I'm not encouraging anyone to do one or the other, but like, why didn't you address that, Kevin Samuels? Why didn't you address the fact that there are younger women, men younger than you who that don't have as much gray hair as you that even want older women? Why didn't you address that? Because, you know, it works both ways. Unfortunately, women are called out for it more, but you didn't address that. So it says to me that you're very one-sided, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Go ahead, Nadine. Sorry, I didn't want to jump the gap.
Oh, is it going to play?
The audience is that when women focus on things other than men, they lose touch with the reality of who men are and what they want. You're seeing the same thing. I focused on my career, and now I look up and I'm completely set on my heels. I understand that men want women who are fit, and they want women who are this and that. And it's more difficult and harder to do when you're at a certain age.
Oh, this guy gives me the creeps, man. You say that. What it is, it's like me and this guy, we're just having a roasting session. It's a one-on-one thing.
It's one-on-one with you guys, boy.
Look at it this way, yeah. The truth is, Mr. Samuels, you want a fit woman, whatever you want to call them. You want a fit woman. You want that. And you don't have a ring on your finger. How about that? How about you put that in your pipe and smoke that? You don't have a ring on your finger, and you don't speak for all men, because there are men out there that like their women curvy. There are men out there that like their women that are not enhanced. There are men out there that have their preferences, some of them in terms of whether they want a working woman or not. Some of them whether they want a trophy wife or not. Everybody has their preference, and that's your preference. Do not put that pressure on women just because you have your preference. I'm done venting.
Right. Yeah, that was a vent and a half, mate. Well, no, for me, I think I think the issue that I have with him is that I find that most of his his thoughts are against women. They don't really empower women so much, from what I can see. They tend to kind of demean, or they're quite condescended to women, and I feel like he's not really fair in how he dishes out his advice. I feel like if he was saying this, certain things to men, maybe he does, but I just think that the ones that are more popular on social media are the ones that where he's kind of tearing down women and not really uplifting them. Or maybe it's because, I mean, it's not that we're not saying that everything he says is a fallacy and that there's no truth coming out of him. I think there's some things that are, there are some things I've heard him say that I'm like, you know what, no, actually that makes sense. But I think maybe what it is I feel like when it comes to women's issues, I don't like the idea of men speaking on women's things.
Say it.
Like, you guys focus on yourself. You advise, you uplift, you tear down, you criticize, consult. You do all that to yourselves, okay? And we let us deal with ourselves. I think that's my standpoint in this thing, because I think we get into a dangerous territory when we have men trying to tell women what to do, trying to tell women how to think, and
Thank you, Nisa.
how to.
He's not fine.
I feel like a lot of the thoughts that come from that are from only one party's benefit most of the time, and that's the man's. And what about the woman? So I feel like men should advise men, and you guys, talk truth to yourself and criticize yourself, and let us women handle ourselves. That's my take on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. For me, I want to know what his mama looks like. What does his mum look like?
Just say it.
That's the first thing I will say. The second thing is, actually, he does have some other videos that are targeted towards men, but the ones that are popular are the ones that are shared that are bashing women.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel I hate, I hate it when people speak as though they're speaking facts without backing it with facts.
Thank you.
So he's just basically spitting out a lot of information, and because he's saying it's so suave and with confidence, that people just accept that as actually being a fact. But from what I know and from the experiences that are around me, first of all, I know that most people get married between the ages of 20 and 30. That's where the majority of marriages happen. So I don't know about you, but how many well-established men do you know that are in their 20s?
Girl, say it.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Another thing I will say as well is, when he says they like a general broad term. Who is they? That sounds
Thank
like
you.
a conspiracy theory. Who is they?
Exactly.
Are you talking about women specifically in America, in the South of America, North of America? Because even those demographics vary
your family.
so widely. They vary so wide. Are you speaking about European women? Like, who is they? I want to know who they are. Because to me, he just sounds like a quack.
Right.
He sounds See, I don't know. You know those people that give themselves doctor titles that.
Do you know what I mean? A Derek Jackson.
Yeah, and another thing as well is his advice is targeted towards his specific audience, which is a specific type of clientele. Now, those types of clientele are paying to have a specific type of woman.
Yeah.
A specific type of woman. That's his audience. He's not catering to the normal general public, in my opinion. Because I think the normal general public, even if we venture out of the ages of the 20 ranges, the 20 to 30, most people that I personally know and relationships that are surrounding me, the age difference is what, maximum 5 years. To have things above 5 years starts, for me, in my opinion, gets narrower and narrower. I rarely see marriages that go on the spectrum of 20 years age gap. I rarely see that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, to be honest with you.
Right.
But I'm just saying that's when he starts making comments like that. It's like, who are they? Who are these people that you're talking about? Because if that was really the norm, if that was a fact, then I would have a point of person as a reference. I would, but I don't. And I guarantee you, by the time we pop off our wig, our eyelashes, our extensions, you don't dye your hair anymore and things like that, then who can really claim that model criteria?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Regardless of the age, that's the truth.
And by
That's
the
the
time
truth.
men, even if men own their businesses, by the time they do their tax returns, your government
Tell
money
them.
that you have to pay, by the time that you have to pay for X, Y, and Z, pay off for your mortgage and stuff, tell me what percentage of men is he talking about that deserve those types of women? Because I'm telling you, someone who does not have it together, a man that does not have it together, but wants this criteria from a woman, he's so far back in the evolution train that he needs to be removed from the gene pool. He actually needs to be removed. Do not breed with a guy like that.
Tell them, girls, say it. Now, this guy is a dating guru. I would say self-proclaimed dating guru. And he's also an image consultant, ladies. Now, does that sound like your ideal man, a dating guru and an image consultant? Does that sound like someone that you're talking to your single girlfriend and you're like, yeah, no, there's this guy, he's single. I don't know how old this guy is. Let me see. Okay, I don't know how old he is, but we're getting 13th of March, 1971. He's not a young dude anyway. So I'm guessing, yeah, he's probably talking about himself. You know, guys that have somewhat made it wouldn't want an older woman. Okay, cool. You're born in 71. His net worth, I've seen here, taking a gander at his tallness, Kevin Samuels is by all accounts around 6 foot. What's that got to do with money anyway? Moving on. Right. Because, I mean, as far as your pocket is concerned, you're a YouTuber, you're a dating guru. How much money is he really going to have? He's talking about money.
It's just clear, even by the description, you know, even by his description about what he does as a career, he's an image consultant. So when we're talking about listening to his advice, he's really most of the time focusing on the exterior rather than the interior. You know, when we're talking about successful relationships, I mean, how does your six-pack guarantee that we're going to last 10 years? I mean, how does, you know, you being, having a certain amount of money in your bank going to guarantee that you're going to be happy in a marriage? Those things are, you know, materialistic. Those things are aesthetics, and those things do not make a relationship what it is. They're just things on the surface level. And so for me, I don't like the fact that that's where his focus is at most of the time. I think we need to get and delve in more deeper in our community when we're talking about relationships and, you know, how to sustain them. I think his advice would probably fall on on listening ears if he focused on the right things rather than just the exterior. And I feel like that's the problem that he's asking women to rate themselves out of 10. I mean, why would you do that? Like, especially to someone like that. Why would you do that? That is setting somebody up to embarrass themselves. And, you know, a lot of people have low self-esteem. Why would you want to, you know, just tag at that and pull at that? It's just not, it's not esteeming. It's not building someone's confidence to ask them to rate themselves out of 10. What's that got to do with anything? What's that got to do with a person's, you know, that person's inside, you know, their quality, their kindness, their love, their, you know, their sperm count, stuff like that, their empathy, their strength. Why people to rate themselves out of 10? Like, he's clearly an image consultant, basically. Yes. In other words, do you want to get your advice from an image consultant when it comes to your relationships? I think not. Yeah. So I think we should take his advice with a pinch of salt. I think he's more of an entertainer than a relationship expert or guru. And I think where we need to draw the line and just know that, you know, not all advice, because it sounds like eloquently put together, is sound and good and accurate advice.
I agree, but I also disagree. I have to side. I know I'm going to play devil's advocate, but I will side with him slightly. I'm sorry, ladies. I'm not going to throw him under the bus. I side with him slightly because there's something that I do agree with him where you have some women, they're saying they want a guy, a certain type of guy, but they're not able to match that, you know, they're not able to, like, they don't want normal. They don't want normal. They want a guy that has X, Y, and Z, but there's no indication of saying how they exactly match those standards. So I kind of get what he's doing, because you have some women that come on saying he needs to be making 6 figures. Because if he doesn't make
I get what you mean.
then he's a broke, you know.
Yeah.
But the truth is, like, why do you put yourself on that pedestal? Which I understand why he's challenging. Why would you put yourself on a pedestal and demand a certain criteria from a guy when you're not able to match that? Like, what are you doing? I get why he's challenging. The second thing I think that he is right to challenge is, to be honest with you, when you're going into the dating market, you put your best foot forward. And I get that, because he's an image consultant. You put your best foot forward, and you want to say, okay, I want this type of person, and the person should just love me as I am. The person doesn't even know you yet. The person only knows the first side of you that they see, which of course is going to be exactly what Miss Rowe is saying, aesthetics and everything. Of course, you bring your character into it. But when you when you have not even worked on yourself, and you have a SH to the T character, then you just want someone to just accept you like that. And you wonder why you're single. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you have to have something behind you. You have to have either experience behind you. You have to have a great personality. Don't be an a-hole. Be a nice person.
Yeah, I totally get that. But I just feel like he's not the guy to be chatting, you know. And I think he's a very shallow guy. And if you want a deep, fruitful, and meaningful relationship, he's not the one to tell you some home truths, you know. I don't think he's the one to tell you home truths. I think I understand what he's trying to say, but sadly for him, or fortunately for him, because I guess he is getting the views, his business is somewhat getting bigger and flourishing until the right people step up and destroy him. You know, he's doing what he's doing, and he is spitting some home truths, but in the way that, you know, there's speaking to someone and correcting them and then guiding them, but then there's also tearing someone down, like, totally, you know. And that is the issue that I have with him. The issue I have with him is that he tears people down. Like, how can you say to a woman who has, I think there was one where this woman had a child, or she had 2 children, and then she said that when she gets into her next relationship or another relationship, she doesn't want to give up her cookies because she's given it out, you know, and she wants to be respectful to herself. She wants to keep herself, and she believes that the next guy that she gets with should be able to wait. Now, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Perhaps this woman has learned a lesson, and this guy basically roasted her. What do you mean your cookies are too good? You have 2 children. You have 2 children. Okay, I have 2 children, and what?
Yeah.
And what?
Yeah,
you know, how can you like how did he expect her to hear anything good that he had to say after that comment? Because even for religious reasons, you know, for those of us that are Christian, a lot of us believe in abstaining until you're married, whether you have children or not. You know, you can still abstain. It doesn't mean that, oh, well, I've had kids anyway, I might as well pop these Pringles open to anyone. No, it doesn't mean that. You can have your values and say, actually, no, I feel like I made a mistake on this occasion, and I don't want to make a mistake. Whether you're old or young, it doesn't make a difference. You can make the choice and say, actually, I don't want to have, you know, stuff with any Tom, Dick, and Harry just because I've popped myself already. I don't think so. And on top of that, why can't the guy work for it? Why can't he? Why can't he prove that he's not a guy that will mess you up? What's wrong with that? So what kind of message is Mr. Samuels putting out there to the younger men, to a generation of men? What if there's a woman out there who has had a child out of being naive, you know, maybe when she was 14, even 16, 18 years old. She's now getting back on track with her life, and she's learned some things. She's had some counsel, and she's decided, right, I'm going to try and do things the right way now. She meets a young guy, and they have a first date, and the guy's like, you know, can we go back to yours? Can we get some coffee? Or, you know, whatever it is that they ask each other for. And she says, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to do the right thing. And all because of Kevin Samuels, this young guy turns around and says, yeah, but you have a child. Like, how does that's a complete and utter disrespect to that woman. It's a complete and utter disrespect. So for that reason, in a way, I don't believe in cancelled culture, but this guy's kind of cancelled for a little bit for me, I would say. Yeah. So I mean, we have another. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
To say he's like. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say quickly, like the best way to describe him is like, you know, or compare him to is like Marmite. Everybody knows what those of you that know what Marmite is. It's like a that you put on your toast, and it's got a very peculiar taste. So it's an acquired taste. So it's either you love it or you hate it. And I think that's how I can best describe Kevin Samuels. And just to bring it into the context of what we're talking about, so it doesn't sound like we're digressing. You know, he did make a point where he said, you know, that older men prefer younger women. And, you know, men that are, you know, certain high value men prefer women who are fit and, you know, look good and stuff like that. And so these are added pressures that, you know, are put on women in society, you know, from men, that they have to be perfect. They have to be a certain way in order to attract a man. And that a woman's focus, if she isn't focusing on a man, then she's got no focus whatsoever. I think these kind of things are, you know, added pressures on women, and that's why we thought we share these videos, because there are men that do think like this, and you know, women sadly are trying to, you know, and unfortunately there is a lot of pressure on women to please men rather than the opposite direction. You know, there's more pressure on women to be perfect and make men happy. So if a marriage is failing, it's almost like, okay, what didn't you do to your man? What if your man's cheating? What did you not make love to him? Did you not give it to him enough time? The blame culture seems to be more women when things in relationships don't work out, rather than it being on men. And so I just thought we'd just bring that into perspective, because we are talking about the biological clock and women trying to have children, but we have to talk about what kind of man are you going to have children with? You want to have children with a man that looks like this? Because if Kevin you rush, Samuels, you most likely will come across a certain particular kind of guy. So it's very important that we take our time and not feel rushed or pressured just because of a biological clock to find yourself in a situation Samuels with a partner that of this kind of mentality. You know, it's just not gonna work. Yeah, you know.
And you know what?
Go ahead.
His opinions serve only him and people like him. It doesn't serve anybody else.
Yeah, this is not he's not speaking on, I don't believe he's speaking on behalf of men. I think there's a particular type of men that obviously are attracted to this kind of rhetoric. But when you think about it, just in reality, when you look around you and you see women in relationships, do these women look like the perfect supermodels? No. These women are your average women, you know, beautiful as they are, and they're in relationships with these men. So, I mean, that is just spewing, you know, garbage if he's saying that, you know, men. You should not be generalizing with these advice. You shouldn't be generalizing. It's doing more damage to the community than it is. It's not esteeming at all.
Okay, so moving on, ladies and gents. Okay, don't cancel him, because he does split his stuff, you know, and it makes sense. And, you know, okay, we won't cancel him. But we have another guest on the show for you guys today. Now, this is not Kevin Samuels, so ladies, do not unleash the dragon on him. We've had our chance to vent. We've had our chance to moan. We're not going to moan at our guest, okay, ladies? Right. Me too, by the way. But we have another guest, and I'm going to let Miss Rolo introduce, and you'll hear why. Miss Rolo, go ahead, take the stage. Oh, you're that way.
This way. Okay, guys. So our next guest is my husband. I asked him to join and share his views and just talk from the male's perspective. So I don't know. Sorry, I got a bit of an internet or connection interruption there. I don't know if you guys can still hear me.
Yep, we got you loud and clear.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, so he's my husband. I've asked him to come on and just share his point of view from a male's perspective, you know, to kind of either debunk what Kevin Samuels is saying or co-sign him. So don't go too harsh on him yet.
Don't go crazy on him.
Or not. We're going to put him in the firing zone. So yeah, let's have him on.
Yeah, let's have him on. Is he there?
There, I'm not sure if he is. If not, I'll have to grab him.
Okay. Okay,
Is
right.
he
Well,
there?
let's see. If he's not, is he there? Ew, my husband, Emma Billy Quiz. That's our mother, by the way. It's like a family affair. It's a family affair. You know, it totally is. You know, it totally is a family affair. It's just that Lady T's missing. It's like total family affair things here today.
It really is. Yeah.
I know.
Is he
right?
there?
If not,
Let me look. No, he's not there.
Let me just see if I can get him.
Okay, so yeah, we have really roasted this Kevin Samuels guy. Yeah, so I think we've vented enough. We can. You guys can go and catch some. You know, actually, I'll change my mind. I was gonna say go and watch his videos, but you see, I had to backtrack and stop myself from saying the rest. Don't go and add to his views. Stop paying Kevin Samuels. Stop paying him. Someone needs to take the microphone from him, because that guy is just, honestly, he's just a bit too much. But yeah, let's go to some of these comments. I think let's go to some of these comments. So yes, Emma Billiquist, which is the Madre of the house, she is saying this is why women need empowerment. And exactly, you know, like Miss Rolla was also saying, from the dating side to try and advise women, number one, I don't think it should be coming from a man. And secondly, it shouldn't be coming from a man like that. If anything, you should be trying to uplift people. But since we're on the subject of women, you should be uplifting women. You shouldn't be trying to tear them down. Why not empower them? Why not give them good, solid advice? You know, why tear them down? Why do more harm than good? It just really doesn't make sense. In fact, it sounds like he's had some really bad experiences with women that he wanted, that maybe he was they were completely out of his league. This guy was punching above his weight. It sounds like he's a bit burnt, if you ask me. I don't know. Willie, what do you think? Yeah.
I think it's that men like him want a woman they can train. Because a lot of women that are older, they have experiences. And these experiences kind of, you know, when you get to that age where you're more secure of who you are and what you want. And I think the only way that he can, or a man like that can boost his purpose of being a man, is by actually getting someone that's very inexperienced, because people in their 20s are so inexperienced and their characters are more like bendable. You know, you can mold it a bit more than a woman that's in her 30s that's already gone through life or knows what she wants. So I think the guys that really need to question whether they actually want a wife or they want a pet.
Yes, or zombie. Like we're seeing here. Exactly, Vanessa. He sounds like a wounded person. He really does. And it's like people are paying to listen to this wounded person. This guy is sharing out his Cash App and his PayPal. And I mean, you see it scrolling across the screen and I'm thinking, no way. This guy has the audacity to ask for funds, to ask for money for tearing people down. Like, what kind of sick culture is being bred nowadays where you are paying people to tear people down? It's absolute madness.
Yeah, it's just
absolute madness.
Entertainment. I think that just because someone comes across as confident doesn't mean that they're spitting facts. Facts should always be double checked. Especially the times that we're living in now, where information is just so easily spread and shared as factual when it's really not. It does more damage. So
exactly.
Yeah, think twice before you take advice from a relationship. Was it guru or
self-proclaimed relationship guru? That's one of, like, you know, we have a lot of these people who will swear up and down that they're doctors and this and this and this. Would you take a medication or recommended medication from someone who isn't a qualified and experienced trained doctor? You wouldn't. So why would you take relationship advice from a self-proclaimed guru who, I mean, probably the most experience this guy has is his own personal relationship and maybe that of his friends that he's, you know, gotten to know that maybe like him, who knows? But it looks like we have hubby, Miss Rollo's hubby, backstage. Okay, he's joined us now. You are welcome. Happy to have you on the show
Hey, hello, hi.
today.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you good. We are happy that you are on
Okay,
today.
nice.
And just to say, we've done our roasting and it was all geared towards Kevin Samuels. So you ain't got to worry about a thing.
Okay.
But I mean, even aside from that, we
All
are
right,
generally very friendly. We have had men that have appeared on the show by themselves before and they don't get roasted rather.
Okay, that's
so
good.
we don't bite.
That's good.
Yeah, so you can chillax as you are. We can see you're pretty chilled.
Okay.
What would you say about this whole biological clock situation? Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me on your show.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it's an important topic what you guys are talking about, biological clock. So the truth of the matter is, yes, there is a biological clock for everybody, male or female. So, and I was telling a friend recently, your biological clock sort of starts from the day of your birth, really. So you're not the same person that you were last year. You're growing every day, biologically, emotionally. You're going through all sort of stuff. So you're not the same person that you were like yesterday, in fact. So yes, we all have biological clocks. But in terms of relationship, I don't think anybody should be pressured to think because they're getting on that they have to settle in a relationship, right? Because your partner or whoever you're with should understand that the person that they're with. So if somebody wants to go out with a child, then good luck to them.
Yeah,
so you're
exactly.
a grown person, so they have to take that on board that you're growing and they want to be part of your growth from the point where they met you. So it's not so much about that in terms of relationship. Now, in terms of medically, yes, it's been proven that as people get on, then there's challenges in terms of having children and their physical being, which is natural, right? So, but that again is something that nobody knows. Like you could meet somebody that is like 16, 20, 21, very fit, and you can also meet somebody same age and they're not so healthy. So the numbers doesn't really match up like medically. So I mean, we have average that the medical world is taking as a benchmark on what they think a good healthy person will be in terms of childbirth and other stuff. But the truth of the matter is nobody can tell you that, you know. Nobody knows that. So yes, we have to put that into consideration. And the way men feel about this, okay, I'm sure this is the part that you guys want to hear.
Yes, exactly. It's what we've been waiting for.
Okay, yeah, the way men feel about this, I think it starts from time you're a boy, really, from time you're a child. So you're being trained to grow up, to look after a home. And in history, in most cases, I don't know, I don't have the statistical fact about this, but in my knowledge, mostly is men that passes away before the woman. Okay? Yeah. So due to stress, work stress, due to several stuff, right? So most men are trained to go for somebody that is younger, that could live longer than they will. These are unspoken. It just goes around within the culture that we live today. That will look after your kids after you've passed away, you know, and somebody that's young, that is strong, because looking after children is a lot of work. Okay.
Yes.
So most people put this at the back of their mind when they're seeking for partners. So, and also, you know, men are trained to be hunters. So you want, and we've been, the world today makes us feel like if you're old and you've been around a bit, nobody wants to deal with someone that is they want to have somebody fresh, like they feel like it's fresh. Sometimes it may not be, but at least they know by the numbers, this person is probably still haven't experienced much and they can share their experience with. Whereas if they were to go with somebody a lot older than they are, then they feel like, well, that person's already had the experience. They probably would share with someone new, with somebody else. So that takes that away from them. So these are the challenges. So it goes both ways, really. For it to change, if it needs to change, I don't know. It would have to be a unified effort from both women and men. The way men treat
education is key.
Yeah, education. The way men educate their boys, and the way women educate their child. So for the mindset to start to sort of to start to change, if this is ever going to change, because it's from biblical times. You know, you have Adam, you have Abraham, Father Abraham with many wives, and some of them were pretty young. You have Muhammad in the Islamic religion, who's one of his wife, I believe, was quite young. Yeah. So so these things they've been around for a very, very long time. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna change, but I think the way to help people out, or the way people should look at this, is not to focus more on their biological clock, but focus on the person that they are, as well as the person that they want to be with. So that's the way I see it, and that's the way I think most men are looking at it. They want someone they can take care of, not someone to take care of them. Most men. And then finally, on the point of Kevin Samuels, the truth about it is, this might be hard for you guys to take, but a lot of guys do actually agree with him, and there are points that he does make that I do agree with. So it's not all the stuff that he says is not totally wrong, but there are parts of it that is wrong, of course. And I'll tell you the part that I feel like is right, and I'll tell you the part that I think is wrong. Okay. Yeah. So the truth of the matter, he talks about this thing about high valued men. And the truth is, what's the definition of high valued man or woman? What makes you valuable, or what makes you high value? I think it's down to you, right? So in most cases, most men perceive, like when they're suiting a partner, and women, from my experience, what they call value is monetary, right? So, but it's for you to define what high value is. Is it money, or is it someone's character, right? Now, most of the women that have called Kevin Samuel that I have seen, when they say they're looking for someone of high value, they're talking about a man that earns over $100,000. So it's already like it's about the money. So I don't feel bad about what the guy responds to them is, because their benchmark for the kind of man they're looking for is not somebody that is of good character. The number one is someone that earns a lot of money, and that comes with no money is easy money, right? So if that's what you're looking for, then that's what you're gonna get. That's why I think he talks to them like that. I think, I'm not sure. I've never really seen a video or a tape where a woman said, well, I want a man that's caring. I want a man that is God-fearing. I don't even think I've ever heard any of them mention about God in any of their conversations. So it's always about how much money you're earning, if you're a basketball player, and so forth. So if that is what you're picking your partner based on, then you should be ready for whatever comes with that. So that's the way I say it.
Interesting. Okay. That's
I have some dying questions. Can I go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
So, from everything you've explained, which I think you've explained very well, what I caught onto is, even though we may not like to hear it, there's a realistic side, which is that for us to appear appealing in a relationship, there is some work that needs to be done as a woman. So as a single woman who's in a certain age range where she doesn't have, let's call it, youth on her side, should she really be focusing on, the physical aspect so that she at least is a player in the game? What I mean by a player in the game is she actually has a realistic chance of settling down, of at least being seen as someone who's potentially there to be like to marry or things like that? Or do you think that we should hold on to our emotional attachments, which is, oh, someone should just love me as I am? Should we debunk that quote of love me as I am? Or is the honest fact, which women need to hear from a man's perspective, is that work really does have to be done? That we have to work on ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'm not comfortable with is the word "the game." You know, the relationship is not a game. You know, it's something from the heart, and anyone that looks at it as a game, they should not cry about the end of the game. So there's going to be two winners, right? There's going to be one winner in a game. So if you're going into a game, someone is going to win. It's either you or the guys, because it's a game, right? So I never really like that word game when it comes to the word relationship. But I think putting that aside, irrespective of if you're going to meet somebody or you don't want to meet someone, you should always work on yourself. You should always be the best that you can be at all point. And it's not that easy to do, because there are days that you don't feel as good as you did yesterday, or there are days that better days are still yet to come. So, but the aim in the mind, your mindset should be, I want to be the best I can be for myself, so that when I'm not so much, because I've heard people say, so that when I meet that person, I'm ready. No, it should just simply be about yourself. And that other person is working on themselves. And then when you meet together, then you work towards common goal. And I think it's just as simple as that. But I think a lot of people are complicating what relationship is about, because we're being painted a picture from social media or from books that we've read or movies that we've watched. And so I think relationship for me is just two people coming together for a common goal. They have the same value and they work together to achieve that goal, whatever that goal is to them. So like I always say to Sheena, I think you guys call her Roller, right?
Yeah, Miss Roller.
I always say to her that the best relationship I've seen for me is two crackheads together.
Oh gosh.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen those crackheads, right? Like they've got common goal, and their common goal is crack, and they don't see the faults in each other. They just go ahead together because they both know, right? And it's like you can't separate them, right? So if we have the same energy in healthy relationships, then I think we will have better results, right? And if we're looking forward to getting into a relationship with this mindset, there are chances of us meeting that person, irrespective of our biological clock and all these sort of words that people add into things. Like for myself, I grew up in Nigeria for my early my formative years, right? And I don't know, maybe I was too young then. I never heard the word biological clock. I don't know about these things. Like I never heard of this. Though when I watch Nollywood movies nowadays, I do hear people say, "Oh, look, you're getting on a bit. You need to get married and stuff like that." So yeah, maybe it was there at that time, but I feel like a lot of these pressures are coming from like the society that we are now.
I agree.
Right? Yeah. And we paint a picture of what a perfect man should be and a picture of what a perfect woman should be, or high value as they call it. And with the men is who's got money, with the woman is the prettiest woman, or with, you know, whatever. So like Kevin Samuel is saying. So, and this is true. It's not actually lying. This is actually what is on the playing field at the moment, you know. That is why he's got a lot of male followers, because this is how most men feel. Like if I talk to 10 of my friends, yes, when we're in front of women, we might try to like glossy up a bit how we really feel. But how we do really feel is basically what Kevin Samuel, right?
Don't say it, no.
It's the truth. It's the truth, like, because when I was younger, like if you're gonna date a girl, you're not just gonna go there and say, "Oh, I'm a really nice guy," right? Because they're not gonna attend to you, right? What you want to impress them with is the nice car that you're driving, the nice dress the nice suit that you're wearing, and so on and so forth, right? So as people grow older, you start to realize those things. You start to part your way in what you want out of life, and soon you start to say, you know what, I want to continue in that pathway, or I want to change. Like makes no sense. These are material stuff. Or you've been in a couple of relationships that didn't work because you used that format, and you feel like, no, this is not working for me. Let me try something else. And then, but in the society we live today, this is what people use as a benchmark for who they're looking for and what they want out of a relationship.
So does that mean?
Quite sad.
Sorry, I've got a question. So does that mean that even though, okay, it's not the ideal situation and it's the wrong way to go about it, but if you are actively looking to, I don't want to use the word win, because you did mention that it's the wrong way to proceed, but if you want to have a chance of having a relationship and you want to use these modern tactics to get it, then you should adopt these modern methods to try and get into a relationship? Or are you saying it's actually time to rebel, and the way to rebel starts with yourself, which might actually mean you might have to accept possibly being alone? Would you agree?
No, I don't believe that. I think either way that you take, you will not be alone. Like, if what you really want is what you're going to get, really, that's what I believe. What you want is really what you want to get. And I'm not saying one way is better than the other. So if you're saying to yourself, you want an high-valued guy that is earning over this certain amount of money, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is what rocks your boat. You should go for it. But with that comes there's a repercussion for that. Okay. Yeah. If you also want, let's say, like the old way, like I said earlier, and maybe you think this is too boring for me, you know. So you might say, you know what, I don't want a guy that is like this. It's too boring. There's no actions, you know. There's no flossing, or, you know, all we do is just talk about our future and so forth. Then it may not work for you. So for someone like that, then they should not try and force themselves to be what they're not. If what really rocks your boat, I think by the age of by 20, you should really know what's really good for you, right? 20, between 20 and 25, you should know what's good for you, and that's what you should be aiming towards. Like, I want a guy that is a good guy, that's got good character, he's got good value, he's God-fearing. Go for it, and that's what's gonna make you happy, and you will find that you will find it. But the problem is, people want one thing, but they're doing another.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I see that.
You want a high-value guy that's making money, right? And you're cutting off the good guys that are coming for you, and then when they speak to you, you say, like, "Oh, I want a good guy. I want a good." It doesn't make sense, like, because
I see what you're saying.
The reason why you came for that guy was because he was flossing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And now maybe the funds is low because it's currency, right? It never stays the same, right? Then the relationship changed, or maybe it's earning more, and then you want somebody else.
Yeah. See. Yeah. I totally get you.
And his value that the value that it places on you has changed, because he's now, maybe he was a millionaire, he's now a billionaire. He feels like, I need a billion value girlfriend or wife. So your time is up.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
so
because
I wanted to.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. You can finish up. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's it. Like, that's pretty much what I wanted to say about that. It's like you just you attract what you want, and what
that does make sense.
Right. And you need to just be honest with yourself.
Yep, that's very true. And I think very wise as well, some of the things that you mentioned. Like, when you started, you were going in one direction, and I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, he sides totally with Kevin Samuels. But then when you broke it down, and I mean, I suppose it is a bit of a reality check that, you know, if you want a guy that's on the scene, then you kind of need to be on the scene yourself. You need to fit the criteria of those people that are on the scene. Otherwise, you're living a pipe dream. You can never attract someone that's on the scene if you yourself are kind of not on the scene. How are you even going to meet these people? So I guess that makes sense. And of course, where you said that, really and truly, although there's nothing wrong with wanting a guy like that, what you should really be prioritizing yourself with is someone who you do have things in common with, someone who you can have a good and fruitful relationship with, someone who, for example, is God-fearing, who has a good head on their shoulders. Really, that should really be the goal, I guess. But yeah, I wanted to ask you, because obviously we don't want to keep you for too long.
Yeah.
I know you've got stuff to do, but yeah, I wanted to ask you this question before you go, and that is, what advice? It's going to be split into two. So, what advice would you give men that are single, that are under 30? And then what advice would you give men that are single, that are over the age of 30? And I'm just putting 30 there, not because it's young or old, just that's just one of the ages that came to mind.
Oh man, it's two tough questions. Okay, I'll start with men. A man that's on the okay, all right. So for me, right, if I'm to advise a guy, the first thing a man needs to do under 30 is to first discover himself. Because in a relationship, you will be tested. And if you don't know yourself, you're going to get lost. So if, let's say you're making a lot of money and you're considered to be an high-valued man, irrespective of where you're placed in society, maybe you're a well-known person, but because you don't know yourself, when that test comes, you're going to fail, right? But if you know yourself and your foundation is well rooted, then you cannot be shaken because you know what you want. So when the wrong girl comes along, you can quickly like disband that and move towards your goal, right? So that is my advice for a man, is to spend more of their time discovering who they are. What do I really want? What makes me happy? And I always, in discussion with my friends, we always talk about maybe doing 5 things that you want in a woman, right? And then not only just write about those 5 things, prioritize those 5 things. What's the number one for you? Out of those 5, what is number one? Because you can't have everything, but the number one is what you should be, the benchmark of what you're looking for. And I can let you in on what was mine. Mine is peace of mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
So men have lists too.
Yeah. Peace of mind is my number one thing. Like, I want to have peace of mind. And I actually got that through a song, actually. I don't know if you've heard that Jodeci song, Peace of Mind is Hard to Find.
Looking at that.
So when I was younger and I heard that song, I thought about it and I was like, wow, that is actually one of the most expensive currency to have, peace of mind. Because to have peace in your life is like, so yeah. So for me, that was what it is. So if somebody choose money, they shouldn't feel bad as well, because that is actually what's going to make you happy. Because I'm not in their life, right? I don't want to compare my life to somebody else's life. Say, for example, I come from a okay family. I'm not poor, so money is good. I want it. I want more of it, but it's not number one for me. Yeah, it's in the top 5 of what's important to me, but it's not number one, right? Number one for me is peace. Once I have peace, I believe I can get more stuff. I can do more. So everyone needs to be able to define those 5 things and what's number one for you. And don't be pressured by, because you go to church, it needs to be peace. It needs to. A lot of people always say, yeah. That's why I've never actually met anyone that have said things like, oh, they always say God first, right? And I think it's just a say. People don't mean what they're saying, because it's not God first, right? You're just saying it because everybody says God first. Yeah, I always God first, then me, then it's my parents and all that stuff. How could it be God first for everybody? We're all different. If it's not God first, don't be afraid of that. Just put whatever is your number one and go for it. Attain happiness, right? But if you're now giving everyone what they want, saying God first, when you don't really care about God, you're just wasting your time, and you will never be happy in your tenure on earth. So for women, similarly to men, they need to understand themselves by the time they're 30. Yeah. But I think for women, women needs to be a little more careful than men, because for us men, it so happened that we can get away with a lot of BS, right? Oh, and no. For women, is a little bit more challenging. So I would say women should pay more attention to what they really want, right? Than even men, because men, we have room to make mistakes. and fix it. But unfortunately for women, if you say, for example, a girl gets pregnant at the age of 16, she's gonna be with her child, and everything needs to, her life needs to change and shape around that child, right? And it's not always a bad thing, because I've met women that had children very early, and only because they have that child, that's what made them successful. Like, speaking to them, they said to me, they would have not worked as hard as to attain what they have if they didn't have the child, right? So sometimes good things comes out of it. But I think in more cases, like I always say to my friend, we should aim for the best, right? And the best for me is a family, mother, father, kids, aiming for the best. We may not get it, but we should aim for it. That should be in our forefront. So that's for me. It may not work for somebody else, but we should just go for what really makes us happy. And that's the way I say it, yeah.
And how about men that are over 30?
Over 30, forget it, man.
Yeah. Those guys.
No, over 30, it's the same, you know, like numbers is just in our mind, right?
Yes.
Like, it's just, yeah, like people are over 30 and they're fitter, more healthier than someone that's 25. I say the only thing I would say is if you're over 30, you should focus on your mindset, your mental health, because as you're getting older, so that you stay relevant for yourself, your health is very important. Again, this is for me, right? It may not, somebody might say, you know what, I don't care about my health. What I really care about is making money, is being a millionaire, and then they go for it, and that's good for them. But what I'm saying is where the problem starts is when you're going for one thing, but you're doing another. What you really want is different from what you're doing. So that was all I have to say about someone that's over 30. It's just, in addition to having their goal, just take care of your health. And that's it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I do have one. Really, I promise it will be very quick. It's just
the last one.
You mentioned about men being natural hunters, right?
Yes.
So my question is around particularly women that are in the older ages that have more experience, where is it okay for a woman to go for the thing that she wants, go for the man that she wants, or does that deter the man from his role of being a hunter? Is it a put off, or do you think that it's a bit outdated for women to not chase, and women would, from a certain age, would be more successful if they put a bit more initiative into it and actually did a bit of the chasing? Or do you think that we should allow men, even if we are above a certain age, to still be hunters?
Yeah, I don't think it's even an age thing. Like, let's just put a number aside, right? If you see a guy that you want, we just go straight to the crux of it. If you see a guy that you want and you like the way he behaves, or you like his money, or you like the way he dresses, whatever you really, first thing you need to do is define those 5 things that means a lot to you. And number one, and if these guys tick all those boxes, you can go for it, whether you're a male or female.
Go for it, girl.
Right? You can go for it. But this is the thing. All have in mind, it's like you see a job in the newspaper that you like. You apply, but it doesn't mean that they will take you.
Yeah, right? That's true.
So does that mean that
truth.
Because the job didn't take you, does that mean that you're never going to work in another company, or does that mean that you're not good at your job? No, it doesn't. It's just that it doesn't fit. So if you see someone, if you're seeing someone that fits your value, and they're not coming forward as a man to put it forward, because some guys are shy, right? Just do the right thing, present yourself in a respectful way, and if the guy's not flowing back, then your answer is there, so you can just move on, right? So so just having in your mind that what you may not get it, just the same way when you apply for a job, you may not get a job. So I think a woman can do it, a man can do it, but when it comes to a man being a hunter, it's better if a man approaches a woman. I believe in that. But if a woman sees what they like, they can go for it. And if a man is a truly hunter and the woman comes for them, they will know what to do to close the deal. So, and not be intimidated about it.
Yeah,
there you go.
I love that. Thank you so much. Yes, that was definitely some gems, and it was good to hear things from a man's perspective. I mean, of course, you're not speaking for all men, but I mean, we haven't. It's good anyway that we've been able to have you on and speak from a man's perspective, because there are some things that as women, of course, we're going to be defensive about, you know, and I speak for myself when I'm saying this. There are certain things that I hear and I just think, I may think that they're ridiculous, but I'm thinking about what makes sense to me. I'm not thinking about, okay, there's a guy out there that I'm interested in. But go ahead.
But do you know why men don't come to these things?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because any man that speaks against what the social norm these days is crucified.
Yeah, basically.
Right. So they rather not say anything. They're not given room to express themselves. So I think we need to learn to just listen to each other. It doesn't necessarily mean that we take what they're saying, but just listen, just hear that person out. Because it's like somebody sitting on a nail and you don't want him to talk. Just sit down there and smile. And they're trying to tell you this part of me is not feeling comfortable. And similarly, men needs to listen to women whenever they're expressing themselves. And we just need to hear each other out. I think we don't do that enough, especially in our communities. And so men just feel like, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this. That's why you don't see them on shows. That's why you don't see them in deep conversations about relationship. That's why there's less men in church and places like this, because people can't express themselves freely without getting attacked, right? So
I see what you're saying.
So we just have to be mindful of that.
Yeah, Evelyn, what's your question? Yeah, quick. Can you put it in there? Is it for Kunle or is it for us? Because he's gonna go soon, so we need to make sure that your question gets read out and we answer it to the best of our ability. So if you're there, you've got a couple of seconds to drop your question and we will try our best to read it out. Madame. So yeah, I mean, whilst we'll just round up whilst we're waiting for Evelyn's question. But Kunle, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you, as I said before, for bringing your perspective. You know, whether we like it or not, a relationship, as you said, is a two-way street, you know, and it's not just one party. It's not just about one party being satisfied, but also about the other party being satisfied. As much as a woman, your boxes need to be ticked, the man's boxes need to be ticked as well. And just because you don't get that job or that relationship doesn't mean that someone else won't take you on. So, you know, there were definitely some gems from you. Thank you so much. Okay, it looks like Evelyn has probably, maybe she's not going to ask her question, or maybe we've answered it already. Who knows? Okay. But we're going to be rounding up now. Thank you, Kunle. I hope to see you again on the show very soon. All the best. We appreciate you. Thank you.
You guys take care.
Take care. So, ladies and gents, Evelyn, I can see your question has now come up. Where is it? Okay. But honestly, okay. So if I like someone, right? Okay. Can I just tell him I like him? Yeah, but deep down, I feel like, okay. Madame, you see, unfortunately, your question came in a little bit late. So any mans that's in the comments can definitely feel free to drop the answer.
Yes, men, please comment on this.
Yes. I mean, I don't really want to speak from a man's perspective because I'm not a man, and we're of course trying to discourage people from putting words in other people's mouths, especially if you are not that gender and you don't understand some of the struggles that come with being part of that gender. But what I will say is that based on some of the things that Kunle was good enough to mention, is that really you shouldn't feel afraid to shoot your shot. You know, you don't always have to wait. You can wait. There's nothing wrong with waiting, but you may find that you're waiting for a long time because there are some guys out there that are quite shy, you know. Alternatively, you could just shoot your shot. And I mean, in the modern day now, it is known for women and, you know, ladies to shoot their shots to see whether or not a guy actually likes them. And some of them are successful. Some of, you know, some marriages and relationships have been built on women sliding into people's DMs, you know. So don't fear away from that. Certainly don't let any sort of old time strategies slow you down. Like Kunle says, I believe that there is definitely a man out there that would be happy for you to shoot your shot. You're a young, attractive lady. You're ambitious. You have some seriously good selling points. So I think I would, from my opinion, assume it would be very difficult for a guy to turn you down, girlfriend. But I mean, I'm not that guy, so I can't really speak for them. But I would definitely say shoot your shot if you have to. If you're seeing a good thing in this guy, if you guys are kind of, maybe if you've spoken to him before and you're bouncing off each other and there might be something there, I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, asking him like, so what do you think? If you have the, you know, if you have the confidence to do that. I'm a shy girl, so I may not, but if you do, ain't nothing wrong with that. You're even getting rid of all the time that might be wasted anyway. So I would say go for it.
Yeah, most definitely. And for me, yeah, I like to consider myself a bit more of a modern woman, but the honest truth is that there are so many things that can be said without saying it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's about making your presence known as a woman.
Yes, do what you gotta do, girl.
And, you know, don't be ashamed to like show or exploit a little bit of your femininity. I mean,
that doesn't mean that you should bulldoze yourself, though.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying wow, no, not that kind of
wow, chicka, wow.
But you know, approach doesn't have to be direct approach. You know, see it as like you're doing some kind of negotiation, you know, any business negotiation. You're not going to just go up to anyone and say, hey, do you want to buy my cookies or whatever? You find a way of making your presence known. You find a way of showing those really good sides of you or your value in front of that person. And exactly like what Kunle was saying, it's either the person understands and sees the value, or they're actually looking for something else. And either way, you haven't lost out. So don't waste any more time and just do what you got to do, you know? How I see it.
Miss Rolla,
and to
what
wrap
you got
up
for us? Yeah.
I will say that, you know, this biological clock thing is not a thing. In other words, don't stress over it, no matter what the science says, because you could be doing more harm than good, as medically advised by our doctor. So I believe in positive affirmations, positive mentality. You will attract positivity back in your life. So your focus should be on your well-being, your happiness, your peace of mind, and that will bring the blessings from God, that will bring positive outcomes into your life. And yes, be realistic as well. I think also setting goals and realistic goals is very important. Know yourself, and to set realistic goals, you have to know yourself. That's the truth. And so 100. All those things in alignment will eventually, you know, bring you to a place where you're at peace with who you are, where you are in your life, rather than having to, you know, be pressured about what the world is putting on you as a woman, that you must be married by this age, you must have children by that age. There's no golden age to have children. There's no golden age to be married, because some people have children at the so-called golden age and they're unhappy. They can't handle it. You get, and there's some people that don't have children at that age and they have it when they're later, you know, they're later years in life, and they're happy and they're able to handle it. So know your truth, know who you are, and you define your happiness, not children, not a husband, not a biological clock. That's what I need to say.
Totally. Girls, say it. Live your truth, know your truth, be who you are. Shoot your shot, girlfriend, when you need to shoot your shot. Shoot your shots, dudes. We're waiting on you. And I mean, on that note, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Lady T was able to join us in the comments there. You know, unfortunately, like I said, she couldn't join us today for the live today because she was doing other business. As you know, she has other things that she does, supporting her husband in ministry and ministry of her own as well. So thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for sharing the videos. You guys are amazing. As you know, we have another topic coming up in the next 2 weeks. We are growing, we are getting better. You know, let us know if there's anything that you want us to cover. Some of you have been so good, Ruva, Evelyn, and some others of you that contact us during the week sometimes and just letting us know what topics or what topics are trending and what situations are happening. So yes, we are happy to cover everything and anything. Drop us a message, share our videos, and yeah, get to know us a bit more. We've got so much more coming for you. And we just say thank you once again. We love you guys. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And we will see you very soon. Have a lovely Easter. Celebrate tomorrow if you're Christian. Stay blessed, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.